Previously on this channel, I've done videos on which cars are good to drive, bad to drive, which series are good to be in or bad to be in. I've done videos on how to get to 5,000 iRating, how to maximize your safety rating, but I haven't done anything on how to actually drive. Reason for that is I'm not a pro level driver. I don't have that top end skill set. But I'd like to think I have mastered the basics and got to a reasonable level in each license. So I know there's a lot of you out there that maybe primarily run just one license, maybe run two or three, but there's a couple of licenses you haven't tried, and you don't know where to start. Or there might be some of you out there with, say, under 1,000 iRating and just not quite sure what it is you're missing in some licenses. So I'm going to go over some real basics that I use in each license. It shouldn't. It's not going to be a lot of tips. There's not going to be. Shouldn't take very long across each license. Hopefully some of these things make sense and you can apply it to your driving and maybe find some time out there on track. So we're here in the Toyota 86. I'm going to start off with sports car because that's probably what I'm most familiar with in terms of growing up and what I've watched the most. We're at Tsukuba and we are at the exit of the hairpin coming onto the back straight. And that's a good place to start because how I think about sports car driving is probably a bit back to front. I start at the exit and work backwards from there. The big thing in sports car or formula is slow in, fast out. So I feel that iRacing disproportionately rewards good corner exit. So if you give up a little bit of time on entry, you can generally make up a lot more time on exit. So this is me on exit, and what I'm aiming to do is to get onto the gas as early as possible. Okay, so that's the sort of the key that I'm aiming for. So I'm focusing on the exit and getting the best exit, and that means getting on the gas as soon as possible. Back up to where we started braking. So key rule here, see the steering wheel straight. When we're going to brake hard, we brake hard in a straight line, keeping the steering wheel as straight as possible. I can angle in towards the apex of the corner as long as the steering wheel is straight. Then that's how I'm going to generate the most braking force. Also, as a general rule, in sports cars, you don't want to be braking to 100%. That is generally slower because most of the cars will have ABS, or you'll just lock a tyre up going 100%. So generally somewhere around 80% is the maximum you want to get to. And also just going back here, what we want to do, another key thing, is to use all of the track. Now we're using braking less and less, and the steering wheel here I've gone to about 90 degrees, and this is about as tight a corner as you will get in sports car or on road. So the steering wheel is the last input I use, and I'm trying to use it as little as possible. So if you're really cranking into the wheel on a lot of corners, all you're doing is scrubbing your tyres and you're not actually achieving any more grip. We've slowed the car down nicely. Now we've reached the apex and it's time to accelerate out. So as you can see, we're still around the apex of the corner, but we've reached full throttle because that's what we've slowed down enough to be able to commit to the throttle. And then using all the track on exit. But just a reminder of the key points: slow in, fast out, focus on your exit, and work backwards from there in order to achieve that. Only brake hard in a straight line, don't brake up to 100%. Steering wheel should be the last thing you consider using, and you should try and use it as little as possible. And make sure you use all the track. So that is the points for road. On to Formula. Same track, same corner to demonstrate the Formula car. We're here in the F4. Everything is the same, all the same idea. It's the main difference is the braking. It's not quite as hard, and it doesn't last as long. You've got the big wing, you've got slicks, you've got very little weight, so generally your braking zones are shorter, and it's just able to stop a lot quicker and a lot better. You can see that it was a much shorter braking period and not as high or as much pressure at the peak. Again, you're looking for that early exit, back to full throttle, using all the track. So another thing that you will need to keep in mind for wings and slicks is to trust the downforce. So it feels like you're going to be going too fast, but you just have to believe that it's going to stick. So this is significantly faster than what you are in the 86, but good tyres, the lightweight and the wing will help it just stick, and you can drive off. You're able to accelerate so much earlier and carry so much more speed through. So the main thing with Formula, as soon as you get past the V and the Formula Ford into your wings and slicks, is to trust the wings and slicks that they will work for you. You will need to trial and error it because it takes a while to find the appropriate level of belief, but you will be surprised by how much you can push them and get away with it. So moving on to probably my best discipline is dirt road. Welcome to Sonoma, Subaru WRX for the dirt road portion of the advice. Got the trucks or the rallycross cars in dirt road, and now the cross car. All of these general ideas will apply to all of these cars. So when you are on road, whether it's in the rallycross, the cross car or the trucks, keep the car straight. No using handbrakes for big drifts. That is, sideways is slow. You've got to keep the car pointing as straight as possible and as little opposite lock as possible. That's the same whether it's the truck, the cross car or the rallycross cars. When you get on dirt, and this is a very long dirt corner, you'll see not much in the way of opposite lock here. We'll probably come in at some point during the corner. The idea is to keep the car pointing as straight as possible. You will have slip angle, and this is the same for the trucks and the cross car as well. Sideways is slow, so you get it just sideways enough to get you round the corner, but keep the car pointing straight. Also, throttle control. Wheel spin, less wheel spin equals more forward momentum. So even though we're in 6th gear here, we're still controlling the throttle and not getting into wheel spin. Keeping the car straight again, no as little opposite lock as possible. throttle control the whole time. Car still pointing straight. And then on road, driving it like a road car, braking in a straight line, not getting sideways. So that will apply to every car on every track. Keep it straight, control your throttle. If you hear it wheel spinning, just ease off the throttle and just keep the car. Drive so as it looks boring. Put your handbrake away. There's maybe 1 or 2 corners in the whole dirt road track map that requires a handbrake. I mean, even then it is just the very, very lightest handbrake application. Everywhere else, no handbrake required. If you want to be Ken Block and do big drifts everywhere, that's cool, but not in a race. It's not going to move you forward. So drive slow, drive boring, and you will go fast. So we're getting to the licenses where I'm not as good as the other 3. So take these words of advice with a grain of salt. So on oval, as with the other licenses, you want to use the steering wheel as little as possible. The whole thing with oval is you have 2 tyres you need to look after and keep balanced. That is the right front and the right rear. So the right front is generally affected on corner entry. How aggressive you go in determines how much you're going to wear it out or how much heat you put into it. So a combination of how hard you attack the entry and how much steering wheel you give it, how aggressively you turn in. And the right rear is for the exit of the corner, how much oversteer you get on exit or how eager on the throttle you are. Some tracks will burn the right front, some will be, you've got a very loose car, then the right rear you need to look after. But generally, if you are racing in the fixed series, they make all of those cars incredibly tight plough boxes, understeering to the moon. So the general idea is going to be to back up your corner entry. So we don't want to be aggressive. We don't want to be trying to go as fast as we can. We want to look after our car for the duration of the race. As you can see here, I've let off the gas well before the corner. And sometimes you will be trail braking, but in the 87s, just lifting is fine. You can see I'm off the throttle for a very long time. There we go, just starting to get back into it, but not just standing on the throttle, because I've been looking after the right front through the first half of the corner. Now it's time to look after the right rear. The steady does it. Not much wheel input at all the whole way through. Yeah, oval is all about balancing your right front and your right rear and getting them to try and wear at the same rate, to try and balance from the car pushing too much in the corner, getting too loose on exit. You just want to, of course it's going to be dependent with cars around you, but again, slow in, fast out, but controlling the throttle to look after both tyres. That's the bare basics, and it took me a long time, many years, to actually understand about looking after these 2 tyres and how to go about that and which parts of the corner is doing what. Now I can actually make the car reasonably balanced over a tyre run. And if you can do that, then all of a sudden you'll find oval makes a lot more sense and you'll be doing a lot better. So the 5th license and my weakest. but it's the same story again. Slow is fast, boring is fast. So the keys with dirt oval, as it was on dirt road, keep the car pointing as straight as possible, with as little opposite lock as you can, control your throttle, and the one point to note with dirt oval is that it starts off with all dirt, but you can get these worn parts of the track where the dirt has gone. What we want to do is stay out of those, particularly with the right rear. You always want the right rear dirt. So that up there is all worn. We're going to go up there. You want your right rear right on that ledge. But I'm a bit of a bottom feeder. Got a little bit of opposite lock in there. We're trying to keep it as straight as possible. Keep the throttle control out of the corner. So a lot of the times in dirt oval, particularly in the higher powered cars, you won't actually get to 100% throttle, because that will just wheel spin. Again, we're staying below all the slick track there. We're going where the dirt is nice and fresh, keeping the car pointing pretty straight. Again, you always keep some throttle in it. You don't need to brake, you just turn in, decrease the throttle, and just control the acceleration on the way out. Avoid the slick, keep the car pointing straight, and control your throttle. That's the main keys for dirt oval. Appreciate that I might be telling some of you how to suck eggs and some of these things, but hopefully this is of use to some of you who have never driven some of these licenses. By all means, give every license a shot. These are the basic ideas of what you're trying to do in each license. Hopefully it helps make your adaptation to these licenses a bit easier. If you have any more tips to share, perhaps intermediate or advanced tips, by all means do so in the comments below. But I feel I'm only really qualified to start off at this rookie level, and because that's what I still focus on to this day, just doing the basics as well as I can. I don't have the skill to operate it, looking for those last hundredths of a second. So if you do the basics and do them well, you can have a lot of fun and actually go okay. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you the next one.